Welcome back. This is Chris. Today we're actually it's another testimony, or basically, I think it's a testimony in this case, regard, and it's a guy, an African guy who just suddenly went through like literally a judgment day, and he could see his own soul meeting God through the judgment day. He could literally see how other people was thrown to hell and hear screams and all that. So I think it will be interesting for you guys as well to see what I've got from this person, and it will be very interesting. So we can just dive into it and see what the beauty. I mean, God always show us something, yeah. We should never be disappointed or show weakness to anything. You know, if somebody come with a nice testimony, I think it's always a blessing to hear those kind of testimony, because you learn a lot of things out of it, and you can even start understanding how God move and what God wants, maybe for you, or for the next person who are watching it. So we're just diving into it, yeah.
I remember it was on a Thursday. Matter of fact, let's take it back. Wednesday night, I found myself looking at these different YouTube clips and watching different out of body experiences and different films that they used to scare me, and I would watch it and it would blow me away. It would catch my attention, and it used to scare me so bad that I would wonder. My mind used to go in places like, God, is this stuff real? I couldn't understand it because I've never been to that place. So
Powerful.
I found myself
Powerful. He never been into that place, and that's period. Like, he never been there. That's actually, let's go.
praying. I remember walking outside of my apartment, and I was walking back and forth with my eyes closed and just started praying. And I asked God, I said, Lord, if you give me an out of body experience, I vow to share your word and to tell the people what I saw. Not expecting that God was going to respond back to that, because I was just praying out. I was just praying, not actually looking for a response. And after that night, the next morning, that Thursday, October the 2nd, I had a dream. And my spirit left my body. It was like I was in my apartment and my spirit got pulled out of my body. And I would go in these different transits, bright color lights. It was white, like the best way I can explain it would be shoo, 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 all the different flashing lights. And I appeared before a blue sky with no clouds. It was like a blue place. No land, no trees, no grass, no water, nothing. There was nothing there but a blue atmosphere. And I would see this atmosphere goes millions of miles upon millions of miles where nothing existed. It was like nothing was hidden. Everything was revealed. Everything was before your eyes. You could see it. And we was in this clear kind of body form, some form of light, as you refer to a soul or a spirit, and I could see through. It was so transparent, and in front of me was thousands among thousands similar to what I was, and
Wow.
thousands among thousands behind me, and I knew.
You know, the beautiful thing about this is like, he asked God. He literally asked God to have a, how should I call it, like an experience where his body, I don't know why he called it, like out of body experience or something like that. He wanted to have that. So now he's literally telling you what happened through that. This is, I mean, there is so many things I could ask God, but asking that experience, nah, that's not for me. That's not for me. I wouldn't even ask. I would probably ask God for something else, more like, let me just reach there, be in heaven with you. That's it. But let's go.
Knew that it was some form of a soul. And in the middle of my chest were seeds, multiple seeds. I didn't know what they were for. And I realized that I was the only being that could actually move out of my place and look and observe, smell, taste, feel. All my senses were active at this point. And so, I began to look around and to observe the things that I saw, not knowing that this was a dream. I thought this was reality. I thought this was actually happening, and I looked forward, and there was this great shadow way in front of me, way at the end of the line. It was like 1,000 people in front of me, and there was a shadow, a great big shadow, but it had no detail. It was like as a vapor, and I could see that it was a shadow of something that was in the front, and I had many questions at this point in this dream, and out of nowhere, I heard these words: "Depart from me." And this galaxy, this portal, I don't know what to call it, on the right side of God, or Jesus Christ, whoever you decide to identify that spot of judgment, on the right side of him, there was this big portal that opened up, and there will be stones of fire. And normally when you
Man, come on. This is powerful. Imagine God just saying, his own voice telling you, depart from me. And this power just like, it's like the universe just got cut in two, like a portal just opening itself up and take that person and oh my God, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's amazing as well, because God is powerful. Just remember that Jesus is powerful, and we should always remember to come back to him, to come back to the mercy, for his mercy, to come back for his mercy, definitely. And let's continue, yeah?
You get a lighter and you cut it on, try to spark a flame, but instead of fire, it was stones, and they will leak out of this portal. And whoever that guy said, "Depart from me," flew down this place, and the flame, the stones were so hot that it would burn everybody outside of that portal. On the left side of our body or our form, it would burn us, and everybody would be like, "Ooh!" Like as if it was so cold or so hot. You would tell somebody to close that door. It's too cold. That's how hot it was, and the portal closed. And then he sent them so fast that the screams were late. I heard, "Ah!" Like it was like, "Depart from me," and it closed up. Then the screams come, "Ah!" And it terrified me. And then out of nowhere, something snatched us up, like we moved up the line. And I began to think, I didn't understand where we was. I'm like, oh my God, maybe this is judgment. Yeah, I had many questions, and I would hear, "Depart from me," "Depart from me," "Depart from me," and all these different people will be sent to hell.
Wow.
And the part that scared me the most was the people that were getting judged. You could hear when God was talking to them, and you could hear everything they got judged from. So if somebody went to hell for something that you struggle with in your life, where you...
I just want to say, like, if hell is that hot, yeah, and you haven't even been there, and this guy is literally experiencing it from far, way far from the front line. Imagine when you end up there. I would advise everyone to not end up there, because it's probably terrified. And those stones that was leaking flame, like almost like lava. Oh my God. No. I would That's why I always say, that's why I always tell my brothers and sisters, remember to always pray. Because in anything, in everything you see, there is a God. If you look at the trees, the way the trees grow, how they got to even start growing, there is a God. Okay, let's go.
You were going. And so I'm just seeing people go, shoot, sit there, boo, boo. And I'm seeing the flame and it's just constantly burning everybody outside that haven't been judged yet. And I could hear some of the people talking to God. And I remember there was a woman, blonde hair. And God was talking to her. He said, I'm not judging you for what you put on Facebook, but I'm judging you on how everybody else received it. 300,000 people were led astray by one of her Facebook posts. And he said their blood was on her hands. And out of nowhere, he said, depart from me. And I'm talking about, I couldn't express how powerful his words were. It's as if he said, depart from me, and everything shook. Boom. And she was set with great force. And the portal opened up. Boom. She was going to fly. And it would close. And like, and the scream was so late, it terrified me. People, adultery, fornication, so many different things that I could actually hear. And people in front of me were terrified because a lot of those people were struggling or went through the same situation and they never repented. So 1,000, 1,000, sit here. They would go, they were flying. They was flying so fast. I've never seen something so fast. And it got to the point where I was next in line, and he called me up, and he started talking to me. And keep in mind that our life held us hand to hand. So anything we did in our life, our life testified against us. So you couldn't lie because your life testified. Say, yes, you did. You did this at this time. Yes, you did. And whenever God would speak to me, you would see a big screen, like you would see as if whatever God says, it comes to life. And so he started talking to me, and he started telling me everything that I could have did better. And at this point, I'm like, okay, God, I could have did this better. I did it. I did okay with it, but I could have did better. So he began to say other things, and he brought up this specific woman. And he asked me, why didn't I forgive her? And he gave me her specific name. I'm not going to say it. He gave me her specific name. And I knew exactly what he was talking about. He asked me, why didn't I forgive her? I said, I did, God. I did forgive her. He said, well, if you forgave her, when you get on the phone and talk to her, why is it that you treat her like the situation happened all over again? And I'm like, God, but I did forgive her. He said, well, if you forgave her, why are those seeds still in your chest? And I looked down. I was like, oh, my God. That's what those are for. Those are seeds of what I did in my life. The things I didn't forgive. So he was talking to me, and I was like, oh my God. And he told me, he looked at me and said, because you didn't forgive her, I didn't forgive you some of your sins. And I was like, oh my God. And he started telling me so many other things, and he ain't told me not one good thing yet. And at this point, I'm getting terrified because
Imagine, oh my God, imagine how, like literally as a human body, we literally, it's like just by our thoughts, where you're thinking, yeah? Just by looking, we sin a lot. So I definitely understand what God is saying in this case. Telling him like he haven't really told him like anything good yet. The only thing he said like, I forgive you in certain things, but there is a long list of things that he still considers as sins. Continue.
My mind is starting now going to a place where I'm imagining how hot this fire is going to be when this portal open. And so, I'm scared. I didn't know how to explain how terrified I was. Words can't describe. When you meet God face, words can't describe how terrifying it is to look your creator face to face. where there's nothing hid from him. There's nothing. Your inner thoughts are revealed before him. Your perception, how you feel, everything that you hosted in this body is presented before him. And so, I got to a point where I didn't want to hear God no more. I was really turning my head because I was afraid that, it's already made his mind up. I was so afraid. And so I turned my head, and he would just come to tell me everything that I didn't do right, or I should have did better. And at this point, I knew I was going to hell. I knew it. I was fully persuaded that this was it. So I turned my head, and I was like, I don't want to hear no more of it. My mind, I don't hear. I'm just really trying to imagine how hot hell is going to be. I'm like, oh my God, Lord, I have no more chance. If I go down there, I can't come back. Like, Lord, please don't send me to hell. Please, like, God, please. I'm begging you. And I'm more terrified. I was more terrified than I can express. And so I turned my head, and at this point, I no longer wanted to hear what he had to say, because I knew at this point, I was going to hell. And I would have my head turned, and out of nowhere, there was this warm feeling that would come over the interface of my soul. And I would turn my head, and it would go in slow motion, and the tears would fly from my face. And I looked at God, and I was looking at his judgment. What was going to be my judgment? And he looked at me, he said, face to face, you don't get it well done. You get it, you barely made it. And he stepped back and said, come. And at this point, I was so confused. I'm like, oh my God. And on the left side of God, heaven would open up, so soft, with brilliant lights.
Wow.
The colors were undescribable.
Imagine how heaven gonna be, guys. It's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful story. I think that a lot of people need uplifting stories and turn to Jesus. Love, literally turn to love, turn to positivity, turn to what can I say? So he's basically talking about like judgment day. That was literally he was sure that he's going to hell. But God always knows his people. Always know his people. So always remember that we shouldn't always be egocentric, or we should always seek for help to the Most High. Always seek for help to the Most High. Because that's where you find your peace and you find your rest. Where you can rest.
I've never seen before in my life. It was so pretty, so amazing. And the colors will blossom as they grow, and and the heaven will open up so gentle. And I will walk toward that direction, and my hand will go in the portal. And when my hand went through, it got bigger. My arm went through, it got bigger. It was like I was growing into a mature state of a glorified body. And so my leg went through, like, got bigger, and you can see how big I got on the other side. And how my soul was being transformed into a glorified body. And my body would go through it, and only piece that was left behind was my leg. And right before my last foot got in, I woke up. The dream scared me so bad.
We're gonna stop there, but literally, I think this is something that we should always. I just wanted to say, like, we should always remember. We didn't come in this world for nothing. There is always a reason why we are here, and we should always glorify the Lord and work toward his salvation, because literally, maybe you might be here for your mother, or for your brother, or for your friend, or for somebody else, but don't limit yourself for the greater good. Like, don't limit yourself for what is waiting for you, because there is some people who are just like, I'm just living for the moment and that's it. But don't live for this world is not enough. We all, like our flesh gonna die one day. It's gonna die one day. But there is a better life somewhere else. And that's with Him, with Jesus. Start reading the book, the Bible, and you will truly find the truth. You will truly find love in there. There is somebody who truly cares for you out there. And people are ignoring this. That's a little message for me, but I just want to say thank you and share it if you can. That would be lovely. And I'm out.